The gender system has three dimensions. Sex refers to our biological characteristics, which take on meaning through contact with culture. It is assumed that everyone has either a male or a female body. Gender has two parts: gender identity and gender expression. If somebody is born with a female body, it is understood that they must feel and behave like a woman. And if they have a male body, they must identify as a man and have a masculine gender expression. Sexual orientation is about who they are sexually attracted to. The sense of being complete is supposedly reached through masculinity and femininity complementing each other. These rules lead to some exclusions. Intersex people are excluded from the sex dimension because their bodies can't be classified as either masculine or feminine. About 1 in 100 births present some difference in sexual development, and 1 in 2,000 newborns has a body that makes gender assignment problematic. When an intersex child is born, a medical team examines and assigns a gender to the baby. The baby is then subjected to surgical interventions and treatments in order to adapt their body to the gender they were assigned. When assigning a sex, genital appearance and functionality are often prioritized, based on the size of the penis, clitoris. The male gender is assigned to those whose genitals are considered large enough. The rest have their genitals amputated, since it is believed that the clitoris should not be visible. In most cases, surgeries aren't performed due to health concerns, but in response to the cultural need to maintain clear distinctions between both sexes.
On a biological level, we can say that sex is a broad continuum that exceeds the categories of masculinity and femininity.
Men who have a feminine gender expression and women who behave in stereotypical masculine ways are excluded from the normative definition of gender. Trans women who are born with a male body and identify as woman. Trans men who are born with a female body and identify as men. Some trans people don't identify with the gender they were assigned at birth, but also don't identify with the opposite gender. Trans people use different strategies to transform their bodies. There is no one path, and everyone seeks their own way of feeling comfortable. Nowadays, the World Health Organization considers transsexuality to be a mental health disorder.
Our lives disorder the gender system. The illness isn't inside us, but within the man-woman binary.
Lesbian women and gay men are people who are attracted to people of their same sex. Bisexual people can feel attracted to a person regardless of their sex. In many Western countries, homosexuality was legally persecuted until halfway through the 20th century. Lesbians often did not experience much of this direct persecution because they were rendered invisible. Meanwhile, bisexual people feel just as misunderstood by gay men and lesbians as they do by heterosexual people. Despite social development, lesbian, gay, and bisexual people are still stigmatized. Although tolerance has increased, homophobia is a consequence of the ongoing gender differences and inequalities. Homophobia will exist as long as sexism does. In these videos, we have heard of many ways to classify people, but ultimately all people are much more complex than what these categories reflect. People are afraid of their own complexity, and they feel reassured by clinging to categories that provide stability, order their experience, and allow them to be recognized by others. The gender system doesn't just harm women or excluded groups, but all people. It restricts ways of being, limits desire, and doesn't allow people to take responsibility for their life choices. If somebody was hoping to end with deep answers, you can see we have only been able to offer a handful of questions and a challenge. Dare to re-illustrate gender.